Cambridge, our meeting of July 9th, 2024 to order. Roll call, please.
Trustee Breinig.
Here.
Franklin. Here. Whitmer. Hollenbeck.
Here.
Chris.
Here.
Blackwood. Here. McNally.
Here. All right, if we can stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and
to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Lisa, can you tell us about the status of the posting of the meeting?
It was posted in the upper and lower levels of the Amundsen Community Center, the Cambridge Post Office, Badger Bank, and the village website.
Okay, all right. Moving on the agenda, we have an invited guest, Marin, Carrie Marin. Please come up, introduce yourself, and tell us a little bit about your life and what's happened since April.
Thank you for the invitation. My name is Carrie Marin. I live here in Cambridge, Christiana, to be technical. I'm currently your food supervisor, coordinator over at the food pantry, and I work for Cambridge CAP. I am also your Dane County supervisor for District 37. So I represent Cambridge and Christiana, and Deerfield, Rockdale, and about 5 other municipalities and villages. So it's a spread. I'm learning a lot. I was assigned to the ENER committee, which is Environment, Agricultural, and Natural Resources, and also the Land Conservation Committee. And I also serve on the Food Council. So I've been really busy, again, learning a ton about Cambridge and Christiana, along with all the other villages and municipalities that I represent. So I'm spread a little thin, so I apologize I haven't been here yet, but I promise to keep on top of things and be open to any emails or phone calls or anything like that that you need me for. I'm currently working on the PQ Ridge work that we're going to be working on, the construction that's going to be going on there. So that's part of one of the things that I'm sponsoring. So it was kind of fun to see something that I could actually sponsor in my hometown. So that was great. Worked with Lisa a little bit when I was asked to sponsor that to make sure that I was doing the right thing. Like, is this the right wording? So you'll be getting a lot of that, Lisa, from me. I also sponsored the purchase of land out in Christiana for the bird sanctuary. So that was a really big deal, and I was really honored to do that. So if you have any questions about that, it's about 350 acres of land that's going to be set aside for wildlife and bird sanctuary, and it's very close to my house. So another project that I'm really happy to sponsor. I will also be taking over for Kate McGinnity when we start working again on the bike path. So any questions or problems apparently will be coming to me for that. I know they've got signage that they're working on. They're almost done with that for, I believe, the first entrance. I might be screwing that up, so I apologize. But I'm learning a lot about that as well. I know that's been a project that everybody is really excited about and excited to get finished. So hopefully we can push that along and get it done and get it off of your plates. Yeah, it's kind of about it. I don't have a ton else to report to you. Again, I'm really learning a lot, and I'm really, really sincere when I say if you have anything that you need me to look into or want to ask me or want to yell at me for, I am here for you. So I'm your supervisor, and really happy and proud to be of service to you. So, any questions for me?
If any of us would like to get a hold of you, how do we do that?
I will leave my business card with everybody. You can, I think you might even have my cell phone number. My county number and my county email will be on the cards. I'll put my cell phone number on there too, so you can get in touch with me a little bit easier. So when I see the 423 numbers, I answer right away. So, yeah, Chris?
Can you pass on for myself the folks that take care of our trail here, the Dane County folks? Can you just pass on a outstanding job?
Great.
Because I just got done running on the trail,
Nice.
And it's a cornucopia of the senses, basically. You know, it's beautiful, and I think it's an untapped asset that we have here in Cambridge that we really
Absolutely,
need to take advantage of. So
absolutely.
if you could,
Well,
they're keeping that up really well, too.
and I know they've been busy, obviously, with all the weather. They've really been busy, and I've asked them to step in for a couple other areas that need a little help, and they are immediately on it. So they've been wonderful to work with. I also know that Camrock, I believe, turns 50 this year. Am I off by like 200 years? I think it's 50. So we will be planning a big celebration for the Camrock Park service, the Camrock Park area. This fall, I believe. So stay tuned for that. That's something that just came to my attention. So I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm excited. A lot of anniversaries this year. The food pantry actually is turning 15 this year, so we will be having a big fundraiser for the food pantry as well. So I'm hoping to tap into some of my Dane County stuff to kind of help with projects that we are working on here in Cambridge as well. So, like I said, anything that you have ideas about or want to bring up to me, please feel free to. Thank you. Any other questions?
Thank you for
right.
stopping by,
Thank
Carrie,
you.
and
Thanks for
giving us an
inviting me.
update.
I appreciate it. And I will leave my business cards. I'll probably just leave them with
leave 'em with
Lisa.
Lisa.
I'll leave them with Lisa. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All righty. Is there anybody here? We're going to open up the meeting to public comment. Does anybody wish to speak about anything that they have a concern with? Okay. All right, seeing none, we'll move on. Approval of the consent agenda. Anybody here help me? June 25th and July 1st minutes to the village board?
Motion to approve the June 25th and July 1st village board minutes.
I'll second.
All right. Discussion? Anything?
I think from the motions that came out at the closed session, me and Paula got switched.
Yeah, I thought so too when I read through that. I'm like, I thought I did the,
Normally wouldn't say anything, but those are some motions, so I just wanted to get it accurate.
yeah, I made the motion to authorize the attorney, and Chuck made the motion to authorize the bidding procedures.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. You're okay with everything, just with that correction noted? Anything else? Okay, all those in favor of approval of the consent agenda, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain, yes. I wasn't here at the last meeting, so it's hard to go with that. Okay, moving on to reports. Couple of things here. Todd, you're going to be up here, and we're going to talk about the guys in New Flags. I wanted to thank you for that. It looked very, the village was decked out for 4th of July. Appreciated getting the new ones. I see that you're also doing a fair amount of work, and I'm sure you'll give us an update here on Amundsen Center, the boulders. The last item, I did meet with the Lions Club. I went out there, and I thanked them for their sponsorship of the parade and also all the other things that they're doing in the course of the year. I don't want to go through that now, but they're very involved. They're heavily invested in this, and we are so fortunate to have a service club that's really committed to this area. And they were bringing on new people that night. I think I must have spoke with about 25, and there were 2 new ones that evening. So I did that. That's my report. Any questions? Okay, joint law enforcement. Bill and Chuck, I guess.
Met excuse me, earlier tonight. Pretty non-eventful meeting, I'd say. Everything's going well, fully staffed. The new sheriffs are doing well. There have no big concerns or issues, and everything looks good from their perspective, and I think everything looks good from our perspective. And no news is good news, I guess.
Okay.
Yes,
Working with the building inspector, new yet.
Okay. And I appreciated, I think Lisa, you brought up the point of having, starting working on budgets. That's not too far away. So that's good. All right. Thanks, Bill. Todd, Public Works. Come on up, introduce yourself, sir.
Lower Department of Public Works Director. Can't hear me?
Not quite.
I mumble a little bit, I'm sorry. Boy, now I'm thrown off here. Good morning. Anyway, the rock wall is beginning. Jay's, that's kind of been his pet project, so he's staying with that. Jay has passed his test, so he's fully qualified. I'm next. I'm up for testing tomorrow morning, and I'd like to thank the staff and everybody for last week because I wasn't able to be here last week. And I never doubt those guys can do what they need to do because they're amazing. They make me look good. We're still chasing grass. It's like a never-ending thing. It rained all last week from what I understand, so. And I'm taking the test tomorrow, and that's about what I have for now.
All right. Questions for Todd?
The guys did finish last week when you were gone, the camera. So we're switching over to the key box for the rentals and cameras set up. And so Cody finished that
Yep.
last week.
Yep,
So what, you said something about a rock wall? What's the rock wall?
right here.
The retaining walls.
Guess I missed it.
The grass has been dead there for about a month,
Okay.
so now it's becoming a rock wall with, it'll be a, I believe we're doing flowers there, right? I wasn't sure of the,
Put some shrubs or something on the top then as a protective, but it was so they're not having to mow that hill.
Oh.
we call it
sure.
the suicide mower hill.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
we
like
could
this.
See the grant from the foundation. to
Good.
do that.
But, yeah, he's doing pretty good at it.
Great.
What's that? I think there was some bartering with that too, so, and it had to do with some of the wood that we were cutting down and we had to get rid of anyway, so.
Nice.
There was some bartering in there, we got the wood, so. Save a buck somewhere, right?
There you go.
I noticed Koshkonong Creek going through the park, and it's high, and there's nothing we can do.
No,
The kids are down there, they're fishing, and, you know, they know enough to stay away from the very edge of it. It's just extremely high and moving quite fast.
right, it would actually move faster if they would clean up from PQ all the way down to Rockdale, because there's a lot of trees down in the water. That really backs the water up. I never realized how bad the water used to back up until we cleaned our spot. And now the water goes way down. It's already on its way down right now. I'm sure glad that hurricane's going south of us, huh?
Yeah.
The tropical storm.
Yeah,
We don't need any more water.
we do not.
Okay, anything else for Todd?
Who would take care of that section, like cleaning up? the-
Dane County.
Dane.
It would be the Dane County Drainage District.
Got that, Carrie? Thank you.
Which is probably a separate entity from what they do,
Yeah.
so.
All right,
That's it.
Todd, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Todd.
Okay, village office updates. Lisa?
A lot of things going on. We have the loan closing tomorrow for the safe drinking water loans, so a lot of prep work for that with the payoff of the interim loans will be the following day. Fire and EMS, a lot of things going on. Quarterly report time for federal, state reports. Election, absentee ballots have been sent out for the August election. So that will be ongoing. Tammy just finished up some training for election. We're going to be setting up, now that we've been trained, to train our poll workers on the use of the electronic poll books. So that'll be coming in the next couple weeks. A lot of open records requests, working on a developers agreement, which is later in the agenda. Meeting with the engineers and some of the vineyard residents tomorrow regarding some concerns they have. Working with the engineers still on the sampling and the regionalization. There's been a lot of back and forth with Dancing Goat and with Rockdale on those, at the point of setting up a meeting for the regionalization to iron out some final things. As Carrie mentioned, the PQ Bridge is moving forward. We'll be having our informational meeting coming up on that. All liquor licenses have gone out for the new liquor licensing, and a lot of ongoing projects. Still a lot going on.
Okay. All right, questions for Lisa? Anything? All right, Lisa, thank you.
I've noticed that there's never a chance when you brief where you say, we're just kind of twiddling our thumbs. Just waiting for those calls to come in.
It's not nice, but
Not in our vocabulary.
yeah.
Yeah. All right, thanks.
All right, moving on. Tammy, Treasury's reports and bills.
Okay, we can go over the bills and things first. There was one bill over 5,000 that was to LRS for $8,536.70. The first run of bills was $10,163.31. The second run was $12,025.31 for a total of $22,188.62.
All right. Anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to pay the bills in set amount. It's what do we got here? $22,188.62.
Correct.
Second. Discussion? Questions? Concerns?
The LRS bid, does that come up in 2025
It is coming up.
for trash and
Trash and
recycling?
recycling. We do have a clause where it could auto renew.
Okay.
And I guess that is a question if the board, we've been very happy with them. We have not had issues, very few customer complaints. But yeah, that will be coming up.
All right. Anything else? Roll call, please.
Franklin. Yes. Whitwer. Hollenbeck.
Yes.
Christ.
Yes?
Blackwood.
Yes.
Reinig.
Yes.
McNally.
Yes. All right, thank you. Now,
And then I also attached the budget versus actual, again, like I told you, I'd do it the first meeting of the month. I also attached income and expenses. Getting into next month and getting a lot closer to budget, I'd like to maybe pick out a few things each time and maybe just focus in on that just to make you aware as we get closer to the budget.
all right. Any questions for Tammy?
I really like the half-year, like, report recap that you gave us as well. That shows us from January through the end of June.
Yeah.
And it shows that I think we're doing fine.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Kind of makes you wish other entities did the same thing.
Yeah. Yes, what? Other entities?
Perfect world.
Okay,
Great example.
anything else? Okay, Tammy, thank you. Appreciate it. We're going to move on to item 9A, Developers Agreement. Mike Coughlin, Vineyard Apartments.
I could take this one, you can supplement Lisa if I leave anything off, but we are, with your approval, We are working with Michael Coughlin and the Vineyards. Michael Coughlin would like to purchase the condo plat and the 3-lot CSM located in the Vineyards that was part of their, existing development agreement from back in 2014. And so we are just proposing a development agreement that would just pluck off those portions that Mr. Coughlin would purchase and just create a new development agreement that gives him those responsibilities. So it's not quite tied in a bow, but we're using our standard kind of new template development agreement. And so our ask for you is just to approve this, in spirit pursuant to us working out the details. And happy to take any concerns that you might have that we want to, make sure we deal with in this agreement. But I think it's pretty straightforward. I mean, at least as we see it right now, Mr. Coughlin would just assume all the duties that the Vineyards had.
Is there a way we can tie in some funding for LBK Park with this?
This is actually one of the
Great question.
pieces.
I was gonna
It
do
is,
something
and it's
similar.
one of the reasons I don't have it tied in a bow. I have that highlighted on my, because I did want to make sure that we didn't just that we didn't just take for granted that things were completed that weren't completed the first time around, and that's one of the highlighted areas I've got in my development agreement. So we can work with the parties to hash that out, since it was part of the original development agreement. We've got, standards for it in our ordinance.
Is what they give us 12,000, and realistically, it's like $80,000, $100,000 project. So. Okay, so yeah, if you could look into that, would be awesome.
One option, as you bring that up, in the original agreement, we waived park impact fees.
Yep.
Boom. Yeah,
So,
that's the other thing.
Can we
is,
reinstate the park
can they
impact
be
fees?
reinstated, and, would it be per apartment unit, or,
I mean, if it's the village's direction, if it's the board
Yeah.
direction that we not waive those this time around, that's exactly what,
Yes.
the kind of thing that I wanted to know.
I love that idea. Yep.
Nice, Lisa. Thanks for bringing that up.
mhm.
Thank
Can I
you.
just ask a real quick question? The property that you're talking about, that's where the 2 new apartments are going, right?
Mhm.
That section next to the original
Mhm.
2, that's already staked out?
Yep.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Okay. All right. So there isn't anything further for us tonight?
That's perfect. That's exactly what I wanted, is your direction on that. So we'll make sure, we'll pose that and bring it back to the board if necessary.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and kind of just to follow up, it is a very standard, so that, obviously the infrastructure isn't there for the new properties yet, so releasing the Vineyards development for those responsibilities, putting them on the new developer. So, kind of making the clean break.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Item 9B, Village Board Meeting, August 13th, 2024.
So that is Election Day. Oftentimes in the past, on Election Day, we have not held village board meetings. So if we want to start thinking about if we want to cancel that meeting, I will be talking later, we may be having some additional meetings on the fire and EMS stuff. So if there's things we have to take up, we could take up at those times. But difficult to do board meetings on Election Day.
Yeah. I would say it's more than difficult. Okay.
Yeah.
So the,
I-
so, go ahead.
I was going to make a motion to go ahead and cancel the August 13th village board meeting.
All right.
I'll second it. And then question. So if we cancel that, if something came up and we had to have a board meeting on another day, we can always
Yes.
schedule another board meeting if we can't wait.
Yeah.
Do we need to do anything also related to paying bills then?
We could do a motion
Do we want to
to,
do that at the next meeting?
yeah, we can.
Yeah, why don't we throw that out for the next meeting?
Okay. Anything else before we vote on this? We got a motion, a second, for canceling the meeting here for August 13th, 2024. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carries. All right. And you'll just let us know, Lisa.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, moving on to some unfinished business. Item 10A, Fire Commission update.
Hasn't really been too much going on. We haven't had any fire commission meetings since we last spoke, so. Jane?
I just have one item that I'd like to share with the board and seek your direction on, and that is that Eric Larson, who represents the town of Christiana Lake Mills, reached out after, you'll recall that for a while, those two towns were not willing to meet, and neither was Rockdale because they weren't willing to meet. He did reach out last week and said, if we're willing to resume discussions, now they would like to have those discussions. But he also said, if the weighted voting is important to the parties, then it would be a waste of time to have the discussions, was his direction. So in other words, they'd like to meet, but only among the parties who are willing to forego weighted voting.
I don't think we're willing to forego weighted voting. What do you guys think?
No, and I don't think Oakland is either.
I-
So we got held hostage right now.
That's why we're in the situation we are today.
I think if that's the only sticking point from getting all 5 municipalities to meet, then we should, at least say, hey, we can discuss it. We can have that discussion, because I'm still holding on to the fact that we can meet as 5 entities and come to an agreement on a new IGA. I might be, behind the curve. I know we're doing other things to make sure that our constituents are taken care of, but if that's the only sticking point, then I say that we should discuss it.
But if we are not willing, if I don't know that I'd be willing to change that, knowing how much Oakland and Cambridge pay for 75% of the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We can't be held hostage by 3 other municipalities that pay the other 25%.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't know. So there has to be some sort of something we get,
Right.
Sort of an alternative.
because we have the majority, and the weighted voting seemed to be the most straightforward way to do that. And
Maybe there could be something in the realm of the, sorry for interrupting, but the super majorities and the majority voting. We can maybe look into that. But if this is the only sticking point, I think from all 5 municipalities who are coming to the table, I think we should at least discuss it. We don't necessarily need to, we might sit here 5 municipalities and say, hey, we have to do something because we're paying 75% of it. There has to be super majority voting, But right now, I think the 3 municipalities think that with that voting that was in the new IGA, Cambridge and Oakland could basically just run the entire commission. They wouldn't have any say.
well, Christiana also gets 2 votes in
Right.
that. And, I mean,
So
but here'd be my concern, Chris. If those 3 municipalities form an alliance and say, no, we want to keep EMS exactly the way it is, and we want to ratify their contract, who's going to have to pay for all of that? Us in Oakland.
yeah.
I mean, the other big issue, I agree with Paul, is the whole finances. They're hemorrhaging money like crazy, and they're ignoring it. And they ignored us for 5-6 months. I mean, so we get a new IGA, how are we gonna fix the finances? been one word discussion on that yet. And we're 5 months away from year end.
Is that a situation where, getting the 5 of us back together, can we talk about dissolving what is there for EMS and looking at alternatives?
Yeah, possibly.
And I don't disagree that having the 5 municipalities communicate is not a bad thing. Very skeptical that, there's alternative solutions, but it would be, I think for me, it would be interesting to hear how they would propose that, that IGA going forward.
There's a lot of firemen that I respect that have been very open and frank with me with the fact that they volunteer their services, but they may live in Christiana, they may live in Rockdale, whatever the case is. They want to still volunteer their services, but if they're not part of it, it's going to be tough for them to do that, And I want our board to be cognizant of that. That together as a group, we're going to be a lot stronger. But I also understand what you're saying, Bill and Paula, about hemorrhaging money because it's irresponsible right now. It's very irresponsible.
I mean, and if we don't go with weighted voting, those 3 municipalities say, hey, we should go with a professional fire service, then who's going to be stuck paying for that? Because that was a big push, 2 years ago? And I'm just concerned. So, and I guess because I think that's kind of a non-negotiable.
What could we propose as an alternate?
And that's it. I don't know what alternate there is.
Did they propose an alternate?
I didn't hear that.
I said, can't we ask them to propose an alternate? Oh, it might look different.
Chuck?
We've been wasting so much time going through this small town diplomatic process and wasting precious time. I mean, I'm okay with meeting with them, but we have to continue pursuing our alternate options. We're way behind the power curve, kind of like we predicted. Okay, meeting with them, I don't think we should steer away from the weighted voting. We thought through that very meticulously. But if we want to meet, I can meet, but we need to continue pursuing our meetings with Oakland and new EMS. That can't be a stipulation. We meet with them. Okay, we'll meet and negotiate, but you guys need to hold off on that other stuff. New EMS, that can't happen. We are running out of time. That's where I'm at.
Totally agree with that.
I'm with you on this one, Chris. I hope that we can, the personalities can get behind something that is it's fair and it's understood. And I have the benefit. I've seen a couple of referendums go through or get voted upon, and Oakland was able to carry the day. And they were 1 of 5. Everybody else wanted to do a fire station, and Oakland said, no, we don't think so. So there was no fire station, and that happened twice. We were on the first one, we voted for it. I think we have to do what you're saying, Chuck, and that is look at alternatives. No problem with that. I also think that, you keep talking. And maybe if we say, hey, we're willing to sit down and talk this through and see where you're at.
Maybe there will be some alternatives.
Maybe there will be. Maybe there can be a thawing. I don't see how that can hurt us. I mean, if nothing, maybe it'll be a very short 15-minute meeting. But at least we're trying. We owe that to the residents of all 5 of the municipalities.
But I like the 2-pronged approach. We still keep going full tilt on, alternatives, because that will serve our constituents the best, but we also, you know, meet with the other municipalities, and so they
So-
don't think we're turning our back on them.
Here's my problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
They said the stipulation is that we don't want weighted voting.
What's the wording on that?
He said,
specifically?
I pulled it up just now. As for so I'll just read, it's just 3 sentences. I had an opportunity to meet with the board chairs of Town of Lake Mills, Town of Christiana, and the Village of Rockdale yesterday to discuss the draft IGA. I am now in a position to meet, as was proposed some time ago. As for the terms, there are some issues to discuss, but I'm sure we can find our way to an agreement with one exception. Weighted voting is a deal breaker. If your clients insist on weighted voting, we have nothing to talk about.
So to me, that if 25 people who are paying for 25% can hold the people who are paying 75% hostage, I just don't see how we can come to any kind of agreement. I mean, if they aren't even willing to talk about that at all, it is a deal breaker, they said. So I don't.
You know, I thought about that, and I don't have an answer, but I was wondering about phase-ins. Does this have to be a hard and fast, nope, here's what we're going to do, and we're going to do it right now in 2024, stroke of midnight, or whenever you would sign a new IGA? Or is it something that maybe you could use the old system for 2 years and then veer into it?
We're already exiting the IGA at the end of the, Mark, that's a done thing. We are out of the EMS Commission as of December 31st of this year.
We're out of both fire and EMS.
Correct, right. We are out of the commission, period.
Of the IGA. Doesn't mean we're out of fire or we're out of.
Right,
anything.
we will have alternatives, but it's, so we can't phase out anymore.
Could we respond and say, we would like to talk to you, but we do need something in the IGA to allow for the voting structure that is more in line with the,
I think
with the financial support, and, you know, are you willing to discuss that? Maybe put it back on them.
It's a sensible question what Paul is asking here, which is, you know, let's look at the fairness of it. 75% versus 25%. So do you have an alternative?
You know, if they can propose something else that gets us to the same place, great.
Can't continue.
But to say, hey, we're not willing to come to the table because of this sticking point, I think that's a sophomoric on their part, you know. I mean, we should be able to discuss that.
Yeah.
And say, okay, here's alternatives. Here's another way we could do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I was at.
But they don't want to relinquish the power they have. They know the power they have with that kind of voting, because look where we are today. We're where we are today because they have that power, and they're unwilling to relinquish that power.
The 25%, they're all the officers on the commission, right?
Yep, 25%
So
are
they're
all
running
of the
commission,
officers.
So they have this hostage, they have that alliance, yeah. I'm a no on this.
I'm a no, I mean, if that's their line in the sand, I say we don't meet with them.
Well, I'll make a motion that we attempt to meet with them, explain that this is where the lines in the sand are drawn, in hopes that we can keep discussing. And I also will throw in there, it's off to the side, but we keep doing what we're doing on the fire and police. So I'm in favor of having a meeting just to keep dialogue going.
Can we add something to that motion where we can direct our legal counsel to respond back to them with that question, the 25 versus 75%? maybe they have an alternative that they want to bring to the table. You know what I'm,
I guess I'm hearing it, Chris, but is this something that's, we're gonna delegate to the attorneys, or do we want to be dealing with?
She
I was
needs-
actually, yeah, that was gonna be the second part of my question, because this was this came
She's
from the
respond.
attorney, just to the attorneys,
Yeah.
with the idea that we would just have an attorneys meeting, but if it makes sense, I mean, to the extent that we need to, if we're gonna go with this, we need to have a substantive policy discussion. That's another option, it seems like, that might make sense, is to just try to get a work group or a group of policymakers as opposed to attorneys together who could make decisions on this in a meeting. But maybe your question is just what the response looks like to this.
I mean,
I mean, do you need a
invitation.
motion right now? Do you need a motion to move forward with responding back to them?
I would like to know the direction, given that I've heard, it does seem like a split here in terms of don't respond at all versus respond, but, inviting feedback.
I mean, I would respond to them in a way that says, something to the effect of, if we were to meet, that the Village of Cambridge is absolutely willing to meet, but we would want all items to be on the table.
Okay.
And then make some comment about the fairness of 25% dictating how 75% has to pay for stuff that's going on. And that
Maybe
being-
clarify, it should be between the
Yeah.
communities and not via the attorneys that might be more productive.
Yeah.
Not that,
Yep,
yeah,
that makes sense to
not a
me.
slight at the attorneys.
So you have a motion. What's Mark's motion again?
I'm willing to amend it to what Paula just included,
Okay,
just to put all the items on the table. I don't think we have to elaborate. Excuse me, just all the items are on the table,
okay,
and no hard positions have been taken.
okay. And inviting a meeting of the municipalities as opposed to the attorneys. Got it.
So
All
I'll
right.
second that.
Okay. Further discussion? All right.
I think this
What
is the.
what would we talk about all right, no, I'll not go there, but, because yeah, it's fine.
Again, it might be a 15-minute meeting, but then again, it also might help us get a logjam released.
Yeah, Paula, you were part of that group that got served from Oakland, so I can understand why you might be a little bit.
Okay, we got a motion and a second.
Remember that?
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? One opposed. Okay. You know what to
Thank you.
do?
Thank you for the direction.
Okay. All right. Okay, moving on to the Police and Fire Committee. Last evening.
Yeah, I guess I can jump in there. We met last night with Oakland. Basically, the discussion was, can we work together on developing an alternative services to provide our constituents starting January 1. And I think we were aligned pretty much right down the line with them. Some of the things we talked about with them is we wanted to keep the same level of service or possibly better service, same response times, look at a multi-year contract, look at how many ambulances we can have and where they could be stationed, make sure we have 24/7 coverage. And we're going to start out with a turnkey operation, so they come in and do everything. What's that price? And talk to them about, well, if we can provide some services or equipment or buildings at a future point, how would we build that into the contract? So our plan is next week to try to get 2 providers in. The Deer Grove, who we met with back in February, our committee, and as well as Bryan Brothers. So hopefully we can get them in on the 15th, provide them with our information, they can ask us questions, and we're hopeful then within a week or 2 after that to get their proposals back, and we can start looking at those.
And this is in tandem with Oakland.
Yes, totally. Yep.
So we talked about getting numbers for Cambridge alone, because it might work out that for response times that we need to go with Deer Grove, and they need to go with Ryan Brothers. So hopefully it works out that we can do a joint agreement with Oakland, but I want to see the numbers with Cambridge alone, just so to make sure our residents are covered for the response times. And then also, if they can, put a proposal together for all 5. So if they want to jump in on it, that would probably be the best price for everybody. They would have that option as well. That's all things we're going to discuss at the next meeting with Ryan Brothers and Deer Grove.
Yeah, and then we also talked a little bit about fire service going forward. We kind of tabled that for another meeting, not officially, but we're looking to hire an attorney who is a specialist. There's some parties at our meeting who believe all the equipment and building is currently owned by the 5 municipalities and not by the commission. So we're looking for this new attorney to provide some insight and some, I guess, definitive answers on that. And then once we have those answers, we want to figure out, how can we go forward with the other municipalities just on a fire in some basis, or how does that look? We really haven't gotten very far on that.
And also, we want to invite the fire department leadership in on those discussions with the attorney. So they are heavily involved in the process moving forward. So they're not telling what's going on. They're going to be part of the discussions and how this plays forward. There was some leadership there at the meeting who definitely would like to attend those meetings.
And if the EMS comes together, the information and the bids, the hope is on July 30th, we might have a joint meeting with the Cambridge and to go through those contracts in detail as the 2 full boards. But, that's the hope.
Yeah. And I think they're going to be ready to go with numbers pretty quick.
Yeah.
I bet they already have the numbers ready.
I mean, in February, they told us they could do it pretty quick. Both are very professional organizations. From what I could gather.
A lot of progress was made last night's meeting.
Yes.
Very good.
Okay.
Can I make a suggestion when you speak with Deer Grove and meet with Ryan Brothers to stress the importance of a cooperative working relationship with the fire department?
100%.
Don't have that now.
Yeah.
So that was brought up in February with Chief Lang and Kimberly, the other guys from Ryan Brothers, and that was stressed. And they have a proven track record of cooperating with fire departments, with municipalities, and working well. And I've kind of fact-checked that with some people, and the leadership for both companies is solid.
Good.
It's solid. So
Okay.
I'm very, very, I'm looking forward to further discussion of that.
But if anybody has any other suggestions or thoughts, you feel free to seek us out.
So I think what I have here for notes, Monday, July 15th, and that's to look at the presentations. And then there will be a meeting on July 30th, a joint meeting, and that meeting will be held here. The first meeting will be held over again at Town of Oakland.
And that's to look at the proposals
Yeah.
together and
Uh,
hopefully.
Assuming we can get them to come talk to us next week, and then assuming they can get their proposals done.
I have heard back from Ryan Brothers is available. I have not heard back from Deer Grove yet.
I mean, there's a lot of ifs in there, but
And then on the 30th, we're potentially looking to meet with the new lawyer as well, if that works out. And start hashing out those things.
Okay.
I know we are a standing agenda item on the Deer Grove Commission. I don't know when their meeting date is though. So.
All right. Okay. Thanks, guys. Anything else? Okay, moving on to item 11, correspondence. Looks like there's 3. One was delivered this evening. 2 were in our packets. There's a letter regarding the duplexes. Carl Raymond. I know him very well. About what's going on here, the old Melster site.
Lisa, did that go to planning, that letter?
No, planning did not meet.
Okay.
But the village board's been the one active until something is ready. Plan Commission hasn't looked at it at all yet. It's all been at the board level today.
All right.
So as we move forward, it could be a good plan.
Are you comfortable replying back to Carl? Because there's some things that he talks about in here that are, I mean, you know, like, we have engineers looking at it, we have, and that the whole,
No rise in elevation
Yes,
is necessary to certify before FEMA or DNR would approve it.
right,
Yeah,
A lot of safeguards that would be put in place before we
right,
ever
yeah.
get to the point of looking at
so,
final
so are you
plans.
comfortable being able, maybe with
With
Jane,
Jane.
responding back to
Mhm.
Carl's letter? Okay.
yeah, I could help, and I would make the point to him too, just that the Jefferson County Drainage District is a different entity than us, and
That all the trees that went down, talk to them.
Yes, exactly.
Because we tried to.
Yes, exactly.
We covered all that at a previous meeting.
Yeah.
When they were here. Could we reference them to go to the video of that meeting and watch it? I mean, everything was there and laid out pretty well.
He had, the engineer had a full presentation
Yeah.
specifically,
I mean,
showing the numbers.
and it's not gonna affect the floodplain.
Is that
Clearly,
open or
he's got-
closed?
I can't remember if that
That
was,
might have been closed.
yeah, I think,
I don't know if that was, that might have been
I didn't say
closed.
that then. All right.
otherwise it was a great idea.
Carl, what was the concern from Carl Raymond?
Flooding, I think, is what I gathered.
Yeah, one of the
Yeah.
concern was just flooding. This is in the building of the Melsters property, the old Melsters property.
And it is in the packet.
Yeah, and it's in the
That's
packet.
posted.
Okay, great,
Yeah.
I'll take a look, thank you.
All right, so
And
Lisa,
then, and then Chris, can you address the EMS one
Yes,
with the
this is-
commission the next time you,
This
the
has been the
commission meets?
third complaint, actually. I've addressed two of them already, forwarded on to the officers and the lawyer, the commission lawyer, so this will be the third one that I think, Lisa, you already turned it over to the fire commission, or you sent it to the fire commission as well, right? This email?
No, I don't know that I did. I
Well,
just
yeah, I
forwarded
can-
it to the board.
Okay.
Yeah.
But this is the third individual complaint on this particular issue, so I can definitely forward it on.
Can you,
all right,
can you let, okay, so let me ask it this way. Do we, as the Village of Cambridge Board, want to have what the what the Fire and EMS Commission's response is to these complaints? Do we want to know what that is so that they can let us know?
Yeah.
Is the rest of the board interested in that?
Absolutely.
Okay, so,
So, just backing up a little bit, I have received two other complaints along the same concerns, and I forward those to Dave Schrader, who's now the president, and the lawyer for the commission as well. And I haven't received any response other than just, when we have the next meeting, we can discuss it.
so Lisa, when
I
you
could
forward
send
this
an
third
email.
letter, can you also say, and the board would
I'd like the
would like to
response.
know what the response is going to be to these now 3 complaints that we know of
Mhm.
that the commission has received.
Mhm.
Thank you.
When is the next commission meeting, Chris?
Okay.
It's not on the business.
Should I ask that it be placed on the next agenda?
Yeah.
That'd be great, yes.
I'm not sure. I want to say it was proposed to be at the end of July, but I haven't seen any kind of agendas or
We
Well,
also
draft
proposed to
agendas.
do a regular meeting.
You guys had mentioned at the last meeting was gonna be July 24th
Okay,
was when it was scheduled at the fire department.
thank you.
okay.
What was your second question, Paul?
Uh,
You were saying something we proposed.
Propose a regular meeting, I think.
Yeah, oh yeah, can we propose that the EMS Commission have regular meetings? Like the third Wednesday of every month like they used to do?
I think we end most of our meetings now with the new officers with a, when is the schedule, when can we schedule another meeting? So we have that, just like it was shared, that we have it at the end of every meeting,
But-
what schedules are good for,
But wouldn't it be better if you guys just proposed, then you know that the
oh yeah, it would be.
fourth Thursday of every month, we're gonna, which, by the way, don't pick that because Thanksgiving and Christmas will get in the way. So pick a different day besides that.
Of course that would be,
I thought there were already dates
Perfect
that were
world.
specified in the IGA.
No, the IGA, I think, only says
It says
they have to meet
quarterly.
quarterly. But because they have to approve bill payments, they really have to meet at a minimum monthly. So, all right, never mind. I don't know what you can do about that, but
dare you make sense.
however you feel, whether you want to bring that up or not, I don't know.
Way to employ logic, Paul.
What, logic?
Well, this might actually, these two letters that we have, it might tie back in with the meeting if we want to try to get together with all five.
Yeah.
This is a softer issue to kind of go in on, to be able to talk about. Okay,
And then finally, the third letter that we have.
That, she couldn't be here for public comment and wanted that distributed today.
Are you comfortable replying to that one, Lisa, coming up with some kind of a reply? Or do you think this is more just stating her?
It would have been her public comment if she would
Okay,
have
her
been able
public
to be
comment.
here.
Okay, got it then, noted. All right, thank you.
all right. Well, I think that takes care of correspondence. Moving to item 12, questions, referrals to staff, future agenda items. We've got West Side Park, flooring quotes, bike trail, dancing goat sampling. Is there anything else that we'd like to get on the calendar? Anything for a future discussion?
What's
think-
what's the deal with West Side Park?
The skating rink, whether or not we keep the skating week or if we make it a park that's usable, you know, all year round, even when it rains in the summer.
Because there's clay underneath there, and that clay could be removed so it could drain a lot easier.
Okay. Upcoming meetings, July 11th, Economic Development. That's this Thursday, July 16th, Water and Sewer. The 18th, Highway PQ Bridge Project Meeting, July 23rd, Village Board. The 24th, Board of Review. And again, Lisa, you may have,
And so the 15th is the next fire and police. And then the July 30th may be the joint meeting with Oakland.
okay.
And tomorrow night, library board.
Oh, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, that takes us up to the next item. Convening in the closed session. Anybody want to
I'll
take
make
that?
a motion to convene into closed session per 19.851E, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session, and 19.851G, conferring with legal counsel for the governmental body who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is or is likely to become involved, fire and EMS commission stuff, and per 19.851F, considering financial, medical, social, or personal histories or disciplinary data of specific persons, preliminary considerations of specific personnel problems, or the investigation of charges against specific persons, except where paragraph B applies, which, if discussed in public, would be likely to have substantial effect upon the reputation of any person referred to in such histories or data or involved in such problems or investigations.
Roll call, please.
So what was that again?
What was the third part?
Westminster, Hollenbeck,
Yes.
Christ,
Yes.
Blackwood,
Yes.
Reinig,
Yes.
Franklin, McNeil.
Yes. Okay, let's take a 5-minute break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think last meeting we didn't have three different
No.
closed sessions on 3 different statute items. This time, so we had to, yeah, we had to call all 3 out, so. practiced
Thank
reading that at
you.
home, because I told Dean, I'm like, we have 3 closed sessions today. He's like, what are they about? Yep, and so then I just read it out.
How's it going?
So, are you able to get records of what kinds of calls are made in Cambridge versus local? I know us, Jason. I would too. Request for permission. And they don't, they're dysfunctional.